What's up guys, Chris Gonzalez here with a video on how to connect ActiveCampaign to Zapier, 2 accounts you're gonna need before you begin your first automation campaign.
So here we go guys, this is ActiveCampaign. So this is the CRM that I use. I happen to find it very functional. You'll find your contacts tab on the side here, as well as your campaigns. If you wanna send out email campaigns, automation, this is where you're gonna create your first automation type campaign. We're going to be setting these up from scratch. As you can see, I already have some in here. You'll come over to the create an automation, and the first question you're going to be asked is, how do you want to start? Do you want to start it from scratch? Do you want to use some of the preset, for example, product interest, targeted follow-up, engagement, or what have you? I am going to start one from scratch. The first thing you have to define is how you want that automation to begin. So for example, if a person subscribes to a list, that can be a trigger that would start some type of automation. Others like to use tags, or if you're using deal stages, if they were to switch to another stage, that can also trigger some sort of automation. So what we're going to do is we're going to have them triggered based upon subscribing to a list. So I'm going to give you 3 lists that I actively use. Number 1 would be for a pop-up, which is simply just like an ebook or a pamphlet or something free that I give prospects that come to my website. So if they want to get some free tips on my services, they'll simply enter in their name, email, phone number. That'll subscribe them to a list and send them that first PDF or that ebook. The second list that I create is abandoned cart. So if someone would go to my checkout, which I'll demonstrate in a second, someone would have come to my checkout, actually I'll do it right now, and make it to, first off, this pop-up is that free tips to a healthy credit score that I give customers that fill out this information. So we're just going to minimize that. If someone would go to my enroll page, right? So this is considered my checkout, and would enter in all the data that's on this first form, they would wind up being subscribed to an abandoned cart campaign, or to an abandoned cart list, excuse me. The next list would be my clients, people who actually went through the second stage of my checkout. So after this page, they'll be able to put in their credit card information and really subscribe to my services. So those are the 3 campaigns that are most important right now. Obviously, you can build more advanced stuff, but we're going to focus on those 3. So 3 subscriptions, they subscribe to a list, and we're going to start our first automation based upon just that. So we're going to add a trigger, subscribe to a list, and we only want it to, well, the list, in this case, we're going to, I didn't create, we're going to call it leads, right? So first thing you want to do is you want to come in here, and let's actually backtrack just a quick moment and go over to the list section. So here is list, and you'll start your first list. So you'll click add list. This one's going to be abandoned cart. That'll be your first list. I also like to put a URL. So in this case, I'm going to put this URL to this page. And we'll click here. I'm going to describe it. So prospects pressed next, or prospects abandon cart, right? And I'm going to add that list. So now that's going to create that abandoned cart. As you can see, it's abandoned cart list. And I'm going to come back over to my automation, click on automation, and automation number 8, which is what I was just creating, I'll pull that back up, and let's actually name this, right? So we're not confused as to what we're looking at. Let's come over here and put abandon cart. So now we're going to save that, and that is my abandoned cart. Now I'm going to go ahead and add that trigger, subscribe to a list, unsubscribe from a list, submit to form. So these are all the different triggers that you could use. Tag is added. You could have them start an automation, but we're going to do it subscribe to a list. So I'll click on subscribe to a list. Any list? No, we're going to pick a specific list, which is abandoned cart. We're only going to have this run once. Why? Because sometimes people hit the submit button twice, and you don't want people with multiple automations because they're going to wind up getting duplicate emails or text messages depending on what you're going to be sending out. So I'm only going to select it to run once, and I'm going to click add start. So now that is going to create, and we'll just go back here, right? Because it kind of opens up the next, but I want you to see what this looks like. So contact subscribes to a list abandoned cart. Now I need to tell the system what I want it to do next. So I'm going to add, let's say I wanted to send an SMS. I would simply click that here. And I don't know why this alert keeps coming on, but I'm sorry about that. Send an SMS or send an email or send a notification email to our staff, right? Or I can create conditional workflows. So I happen to use an external platform. It's a web-based phone service where I'm able to facilitate phone calls and text communication. So in my case, I would use a webhook to send a text message, but to keep it very simple, I could simply come over to Active Campaigns. I'd have to upgrade the account, but I could send text messages directly through Active Campaign. What I don't like about these text messages is you can't communicate back and forth. So you can only send out, you cannot receive. Kind of defeats the whole purpose of making this simple. So I would use a webhook. So I would simply come over here. I would go to conditions and workflows. I would add a webhook, which would be a URL that would be created in my cloud-based phone service. And I would simply put that URL in there, and that would trigger a text message. I hope you're getting the idea of what's going to happen here. The other thing I can do is I can conditional workflow. I can simply sending options. I can send an email. So let's say I wanted to create an email template. I would name it. I would say, you were so close, right? Because they were so close. They were at my checkout. They were just about to put their credit card information and something stopped them, so they abandoned cart. So now I want to tell them, hey, Mr. Customer, you were so close. Our simple enrollment only takes a couple of minutes, and I want to redirect them back to my website, right? The whole idea is to create communication that eliminates the tedious tags of trying to chase people down. You want to automate your processes, right? The importance of automation is to be able to scale your business and grow it and not limit yourself, right? So this would be the first email. I would now get the option to create my email from scratch, or I can build one of these templates. So let's say I wanted to use this template, for example, right? Email subject line is you were so close, and I want to hit continue. So now it's going to open up that email template, and now I can play around with this. I can upload my own logo. You go right over here, and you got the image, right? I can add an image from my computer, or if I have anything saved already inside my ActiveCampaign account, I would be able to do it there, right? So now I would upload my image, and that would be my logo. Next things, you were so close, and get creative with text here, right? You have to test different things. What I kind of like to do is I like to look at my competition. I like to look at what other people are doing, kind of get a feel for it, and more importantly, not get a feel for what it looks like, but I want to get a feel for how it makes me feel. And that's how I determine, right? It's call to action. It's supposed to stimulate some sort of reaction. If you're getting that, you're doing a good job. So this would be, let's say, my first email campaign. I would click next. And once my internet speeds up, you were so close. headline, and I would continue to just fill in the information here, right? Now I would send myself a test email so I could see what that looks like when it hits my inbox. So now once you send that test email, you can get a feel for how it looks. Sometimes you have to reorganize things. Sometimes you don't like the way the subject and the pretext look together, right? Your subject should say, you were so close. And then in the pre-header text, I would put, subject would be, you were so close. Pre-header text, I would put, our enrollment takes only 2 minutes. Or any questions, and you would finish up that email. So now I'll save and exit. And that has now created my first email, right? So I would always send a text message and an email, right? But I'm going to give you one more thing. Because we made this first automation when someone subscribes to that abandoned cart email, that's this form here, right? So by the time they get to the next form, maybe they're fumbling for their credit card. It takes them a couple of minutes. So what I would do is I would put a little delay in this first action. So the first thing I want to do is I want to do a conditional workflow, right? I want to wait a specific time period. So in this case, I'm going to do wait for 5 minutes, right? So that first email or that first text message won't go out till 5 minutes after they entered this automation, allowing the system time to either remove them from abandoned cart because perhaps they're a client, or vice versa. If they're not a client, abandoned cart, 5 minutes later, text message, email goes out. Now, the next action, I would want it to wait, let's say, wait for a specific period, 1 day, right? So text message, email today, right? After 5 minutes, first text message, first email goes out today. Now, I don't want to bother them today, so tomorrow I want to follow up. Now, you don't want to bombard your people with asking them for sign up, sign up, sign up. You now want to establish a relationship. So you want to build some credibility, right? You want to jab, 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 cross, right? Give them something, provide them with some value. So I would send them an additional email that maybe talks about my services, but not my service in a selling way. I would talk about my service like more education. So I'm in the credit repair space, so maybe I would talk to them about consumer rights, what their rights are as a consumer, or I would talk about the FCRA. I would talk about I would give them information to kind of position myself as the authority in that space, right? I want to build my credibility by giving them useful information. So now I want to create a new email, right? So I would just simply go in there and I would put, laws of credit, right? I'm just using the text, laws of credit, and I would go and I would pick so you see how this is working. You're now starting to create, and we're going to use this template, see what it looks like in email, see what it looks like on mobile. I like it. Okay, great. So we'll use this one, and subject is going to be credit law. So now you start getting the idea that you're just building out campaigns. Now, before you start doing this, I would kind of map out what experience would you like your customers to have? Do you want to follow them for 30 days? Do you want to follow them for 60 days, 90 days? Kind of figure out what you believe your customer, your prospect life cycle is before they actually opt in for your service. And when you start gathering this data and you start analyzing it, you'll be able to make better decisions moving forward. So for the sake of this, I would say 30 days, right? You need at least 30 days. So build out 30 days worth of content, follow-up, right? So let's say you're going to email them once a day. you would need 30 different emails. I think once a day might be a bit much. I would maybe do today, tomorrow, then skip 2 days, then skip 5 days, then skip 2 days, right? Like kind of spread it out just to kind of keep yourself, you know, in their mind, right? And again, it's about value at this point. Now you have to build a relationship by building value with your prospect. That's what's going to get them to buy or opt in for your services over time. So we're just going to save and exit this. And as you can see, you're starting to build a flow here, So we're going to save that. So you have, they subscribe to your list. We wait 5 minutes. Email, text message goes out. We now wait a day. Email, text message goes out. And don't be afraid to do an email one day and a text message the next day. So let's say I did want to hit these people every day with something, right? So maybe I have 15 emails that go out in 30 days and 15 text messages that go out in 30 days, right? So I have 15 separate communications, but I'm taking up 30 days. I'm taking a 30-day approach. So now when you get to the bottom of this, you're going to want to create another type of condition. And what sort of conditions could you create? Well, one would be a goal. What are you trying to accomplish, right? So like this is a client signed up. So you would write clients signed up, right? And depending on where they are, anywhere within this pipeline, right? You don't want to do a below contact position. So you could do a goal after 7 days. Maybe you move them to something different. But in this case, we're going to make the goal they became clients, right? So trigger this conversion when the goal is achieved, right? We don't have one yet, but we're going to create a conversion now. So we're going to put, conversion could be money. We're not going to use that. Oh, I lost my place there. So condition, flow, goal, right? So first thing we're going to do client signed. I spelled signed wrong. Signed up. We're going to not go below. We're going to go anywhere. We're going to do, if the contact does not meet this goal, continue anyway, right? So now that you see what kind of the flow looks like, I mean, you can go on and on and on. I don't have to build this whole thing out, but what's going to happen is you're going to see how many people are at this point, how many people are at this point, how many people are at this point, and it's going to start building a really, really, really good flow. Now, maybe you have this triggered based upon some other trigger, right? If someone opens an email, someone reads an email, you can add them to a certain automation. If someone takes some sort of action, you're able to put them in here. So let's jump into the other thing that you're going to have to connect, or you should connect, to help facilitate, and that's going to be Zapier. And just so you know, I'm going to put links in this video to these accounts. They are my affiliate links. I'm making the video. I'm helping you along. If you use my link, greatly appreciated. If you don't, it is what it is. I hope I helped you. So Zapier, I'm going to log in and kind of show you what this looks like on the back end. Now, when would I use Zapier, right? So if you're using a software like Credit Repair Cloud or ActiveCampaign, or you're trying to connect, let's say Facebook, right? You're trying to connect another app with another app. A good way to help facilitate that is by using Zaps. So I'm just going to log into my account. You're actually going to see a bunch of Zaps. I use it for a lot of different things, but an example of the different apps that you could use it with would be ActiveCampaign, Billsby, ChargeBee, ClickFunnels, Credit Repair Cloud, Facebook ads. I mean, and as you can see, I have one connection here, another connection here, another connection here, 5 connections here. I also have 8 Zaps here, 29 Zaps here, 15 Zaps. So I have Zaps going everywhere I possibly can put them, because I want my systems communicating constantly with each other. So something happens here, it pushes data there. Something happens here, it pushes data here, sometimes back there. And you can create Zaps to do anything that you want, right? So let's just go into creating a new zap. Like this is the first zap that I'm going to create. So in this case, I want to connect, let's say, ClickFunnels to ActiveCampaign. But in here, because we're, I'm catering more towards the credit repair space, I'm actually going to go to Credit Repair Cloud, which there will be a link to that as well. So if you wanted to start a business that you can make a lot of money doing, as well as help a lot of people, right? Super lucrative, super satisfaction that you would get from helping others, right? Credit repair is one of those spaces that you could jump into with next to no knowledge, right, of credit repair, and learn everything you have to learn here. So a little plug there for Credit Repair Cloud, but my link will be in the description, as well as a link to Zapier, a link to ActiveCampaign, and maybe I'll even throw in a link to ClickFunnels. Who knows? We'll see how things go. But I'm going to right now connect Credit Repair Cloud, and I want it to be triggered if there is a new lead. So let's say you're sending new leads into your system. Soon as a new lead comes in, I'm going to want to now do something. It's going to ask me to connect. All right. I already have my Credit Repair Cloud account connected. As you can see, there are 15 zaps here. So I'm going to click into the account that's already there. I'm going to hit continue. And now it's going to test a trigger. Now, I may not have any results because I don't drive leads to that platform. So we're going to come over here and we're going to create a new zap. And so the zap we're going to create is we're going to tell the system to do something with ActiveCampaign, right? And let's say a new contact is added. So we're going to go new or updated contact. We're going to click continue, and we're going to choose an account, and it's my ActiveCampaign account. As you can see, I have 27 zaps already associated with this account. That's how I know it's me. If not, it would ask me to put in my login credentials. So you would simply put in your login credentials, logins. The system will log into your account, and it would be able to move data back and forth. So the trigger is going to be when someone subscribes to, let's say, hold on one second. Here we go. Let's do this. Credit Mentor, right? So we're going to hit true, right? So list subscribes is added or updated, and skip unsubscribed events, true, someone who's not subscribed. So we want to hit continue, and we're going to test the trigger, and it's going to go in there and it's going to pull the most recent person. So I don't really want you to see the, you're seeing it anyway. But anyway, so I would click continue. So it just pulled in that data. And now, what do I want it to do? Maybe I want to send the information to ClickFunnels, or maybe I want to send it to a Google Calendar, or maybe I want to send, you decide where you want the information to go, right? In this next feature. So let's see, where can I send? So let's send it back to ActiveCampaign. How about that? We're going to tell ActiveCampaign to create, we're going to add a note, create a deal, and I'm going to hit continue, and I'm going to choose, again, where do I want it to create the deal? I want it to create an ActiveCampaign. It's going to hit continue, and now I'm going to enter text or insert it. So I'm going to basically say, what do I want this deal to be named? I want it to be named the customer or the person who subscribed. Then next, the pipeline, I want it to go to Apex Credit Fix, or wherever you want it to go. And contact ID, we don't have one, so I can skip that. None of this stuff's required, but you are going to want to put in contact. So value, right? Apex Credit Fix, active client. So all you're doing is you're creating the rules here. And now once you fill out all this info, you're going to hit next, and that's going to create your first zap. So Zapier is used to move data from one platform or one app to another, and that's the gist of, and all you would do is come over here and you would turn this Zap on once you're ready. So simple, Zapier, creating your first automation campaign. I believe I made it very, very simple. If you have any questions, comments, put them down below. And again, I will put links to all of these sites so that you could access them and get yourself signed up and start building your business. All right, you guys be great.